Hello, legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode 254. Yes, we are 254 days into this project. So basically, I managed so far to write 254 posts and record 254 podcast episodes. Initially, they were audio, but most recently they are in a video format and audio format on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And the main uh, context of the whole project is that each of these days is consecutive. So there was no single day in between day 1 and day 254 that I did not write the post or did not record the podcast. So that's something that in some part I consider that as an achievement, but that was the idea of journaling every day and restructuring my bad, I would say, habits of being procrastinator and doing things in short bursts and then basically just letting it go and fading away and never getting back on track. So this is something that I call my core habits, which is basically blogging, writing, and the video recording and audio recording as well. So for those of you that would like to start blogging or journaling and or podcasting, be it in audio version or video, and you have no ideas about what to talk about and or to write about, I feel you, because to this day I still don't have a specific theme or agenda behind those episodes and blog posts. So as you can hear, it's 254 days without very specific agenda. Yet here I am. Those blog posts are being read by people, are being liked by people, and also the podcast is being listened to or watched by some people as well. Of course, it's not a big audience, but I'm not expecting it. I do it mainly to record my journey of doing it, because we hear a lot of testimonials, or I would say credentials, bragging about from those gurus or people that are long time in the game. They started early in a much more advantageous positions. They did it for years. Of course, it's their work and they worked for it hard in most cases. I'm not disregarding that, but if somebody is I would say almost a celebrity or a person that already built business on top of blogging or podcasting and has hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers and views per day, it's hard to believe that they know what you feel. And don't get me wrong, they've been there, that's right, and they keep saying it. But I'm pretty sure that it will be very hard to feel how it was many years back with just a single views or listens or reads of the blog post, if I manage to get to the point where my blog is read by hundreds or thousands of people, and the videos are watched by a good amount of audience. It's that detachment that really irritates me from those all those gurus. And I'm not talking about the scammers that produce only the so-called courses to help you out with the journey, and the only thing they actually know about is how to create courses and milk people of their money, and never helped you really build anything successful. Or if you actually follow their advice and you come up with something, you think that they helped you, but it was probably you that did all the work and managed to convert it into something successful even without their course. So these are scammers, but I'm talking about the people that are actually doing a lot of stuff, like known names like Gary Vee, or let's say Mr. Beast, or people like that that are already achieving tremendous successes on different levels and in different areas and disciplines. But what they say is valid, but I don't believe they are still attached enough to feel the person that just starts or is at the very beginning of the journey. They might have some recollection, they might have some memories, but it's just physically and mentally impossible to be able to connect on the same level, I think, for the people that already went through so many stages of failure, recovery, different, I would say, levels of also earnings and money, and managing their life at different stages, and mm, how do you call it, at different standards that they went through. And while they still might recall, like we do, the memories of our childhood or things like that, it's no longer them, and they can't feel you, they can't feel me. I have my own mental challenges in building this thing. While I started it for myself, I obviously want to get to the point where I can do it for a living. And it's not about money per se, it's about doing something that I feel is good for others and they like to watch it and they get something out of it, and their life is actually improving because of what they watch on my channel or they read on my blog. And if it gives me means for living, it would be amazing. And that's the whole point. So, it's a long game. And I know it. Of course, there are situations like the unicorns where people get like so-called overnight success. Obviously, this is never overnight success, but some people blow up very quickly because of some viral video and they got noticed, and obviously they get some deals, and it becomes more commercial straight away. I don't know how it feels, and how do they manage to remain the people they are, but obviously some of them can still remain genuine and empathic, and a very good people, uh, which includes also like so Gary Vee and Mr. Beast and others that I mentioned. So I'm not saying they are incapable of being those people that they were before. It's just the fact that they are definitely detached from the total beginnings that, for example, I am at the moment, and some of you probably are. Maybe you're a little bit further mm, on the road than myself, or maybe you're just listening and you're thinking about starting your blog journey or journaling journey, and maybe creating your own podcast, but you don't want to show yourself, or you don't like your voice. And this is exactly what I did. I hate my, well, I don't like the word hate, but when I listen to myself, I cringe. When I watch myself, I cringe a lot, even more than when I listen to myself. When I read, it's not that bad because we got used to reading, well, to writing on different platforms. We became natural keyboard warriors, so we're not that much afraid of what we write, be it on social media or anywhere else. So it's easy to start with writing the blog. And you don't need to, advertise it to the world straight away, but you definitely should start writing. And I encourage you to go back to my first week of posts. I think there is a category on the blog where you can select my first 7 days, which should display first 7 blog posts, and you can go through them and see how simple and cringe they were, and they brought nothing to the reader, I would say, in terms of value. But it wasn't the point. The point was to start, and that was my only goal and focus, to just start writing and to maintain it every day. And if you go through those first couple of posts, you will see how short they were. There was no images in there, no, specific structure or even tagging, proper tagging or categorization. It's still, all over the shop, but I try to tidy it up. So I'll be definitely giving you some lessons learned from my perspective, and maybe you can use them in your scenario. But if you didn't start, please do. Go to WordPress.com or any other blogging platform where you can just start for free. Don't worry about the paid content or paid plans. There are things like Blogspot, WordPress. I don't know. There's probably plenty more, like Medium.com. There are different platforms that allow you to write for free, to start straight away. You don't need to pay anyone to start your journey, and you don't need to project that to the world straight away. Just write for yourself. And when you start writing, after some time, world will know. Somebody will see your posts. Somebody will read them and maybe walk away. Some of the people will read them and like them. Some people might even subscribe to your content. And initially it will be a long journey. And it is a long journey for me. I'll give you more stats in the coming days to show you, because I didn't update on the statistics on the blog itself for a while. WordPress allows for some insights, so I'll try to get as much as I can to show you the picture of how difficult it might look and feel for the first long period of time. But if you focus on writing for yourself and just to keep going and not expect anything out of it, it will eventually give you that little pleasure of seeing people actually reading the blog post. And when you get to the point where you feel confident enough that these posts can be read by, or you feel like you can share them, just share them. Share them on YouTube, or, well, on YouTube it might be a little bit hard, but YouTube has an actual feature now, which is called community. It's community tab on the channel. So if you have an account on YouTube, create your own channel. You can name it whatever you want and start putting the community post with the link to your blog post, and then share it on Facebook. If you don't want to share it on your private account, then try to share it in some groups, join some blogging groups, and start sharing there, because this is what they are created for. Start sharing on Instagram or, on Twitter. These platforms are big. Use any hashtags or topics to get exposed a little bit to different groups of people. And of course, it will be hard at the beginning, and it might be 0 views for a while. I was excited when I got a spike of views at some stage, and then I was really upset, and it was very challenging mentally to see a long period of time where it was pretty much crickets. So don't get discouraged. I'm here to keep going and motivating you to do that, because I think it's more and more important to have that presence if you ever want to be relevant in internet space. There are people that don't want that. They create their lives completely away from the virtual world, I would say. I know people that have no Facebook, no social media accounts, and they live a normal life. You would expect this probably not possible these days, but yeah, they do it, and they are pretty happy without all that noise. But assuming that you watch me and you read my blog post, maybe you are like me. You want to be part of this virtual reality a little bit. I'm not saying you want to be fully submerged under the surface of the data ocean, or digital ocean, I would say. But in some areas, we probably still need to be slightly connected to the technology and use it to our advantage. So, in a balanced way, I want to be part of it. And I assume that you might as well. So, if you ever thought about starting to write, just start it. I'll be giving maybe a couple of links in tomorrow's episode to get you going, and I'll record some advice tomorrow what to focus in the first couple of weeks. But I can already tell you that without any of my advice, you can go straight away, create your account on any platform. It's great if you can create that on WordPress, because if you start writing on WordPress.com, we can cross subscribe to each other and keep track of the progress. And I will be more than happy to subscribe to your content if you happen to start your blog based on a simple nudge from my side. So this will allow for even, commenting on each other's blogs, or referring to the specific blog posts easily within the same platform, because WordPress allows for that. It has a lot of integrations, and even in free version you have a lot of plugins and blocks that you can use. You can embed YouTube videos without uploading any videos to the actual WordPress. You can do a lot of stuff in a free edition, so you don't need to pay, and you just need to start. I will be wrapping up now because I'm approaching 20 minutes, so it's I would say, sweet spot for the length of the video. I'll just give you a quick update from today. It was a stormy day, as I call them. So we were in Dublin since the very morning. It was a lot of driving. I reconsidered my commitment to publish the post before 8 p.m. It doesn't seem to work as I expected. It was meant to bring me benefit, and it kind of did, because most of the times I was writing it before 8 p.m. Then I went to bed at reasonable hours and slept well, but On the other side, I was always stressing the whole day to make sure that I published that post. And if I got the health benefit from sleeping, then I kind of mm, minimized it by stressing out for the rest of the next day and making sure that I will post it. So the post was rushed and wasn't necessarily the value for you as a reader and or listener, and it was stressful for me. So today I knew I will slip. Well, I could probably force myself and write the post while we were in Dublin. I had my laptop with me, but I decided to not do that. We came back at around 21, I think, so 9 p.m. And I had enough time while driving, about 7 hours, to rethink how I'll try to restructure it and realign my goal in writing and podcasting. So nothing changes in about. There will be still blog and there will still be podcast. I'm not stopping it. The only thing I do is I want to experiment with recording these episodes not after I write the blog post and in the evening, but rather try to start recording videos before I write it. It will be interesting to see how I can manage it and if it changes anything. But at the same time, I'd like to also still keep publishing posts early on to not go into the evening or night and still go to bed at the reasonable hours. So my committed deadline was 8 p.m., but I am moving it to 10 p.m., which is still a hard line and I want to maintain it. So I kind of eased the restrictions a little bit and pushed that by 2 hours. But at the same time, I will be experimenting and committing more to doing both of the things by 10 p.m. So not just publishing the blog post, but recording and publishing the blog post for the whole day by 10 p.m. And we'll see if it works. And this will give me extra advantage that I thought about, is because some people read my blog posts and it happens before I record or publish the YouTube video and embed it into the blog post. I might be able to do that in the reverse. So create the YouTube video, upload it to YouTube and Spotify, and then have the link ready to embed in the post while I write it. That will give me extra exposure. I know it will be just a couple of views, but this really matters. That's those small improvement in different areas, they sum up and then they exponentially compound your growth and impact your ability to grow faster in many areas. It's not just about blogging. It was proven in many areas before historically. Like, for example, I think Bradley Wiggins' team, or in general, the team of English cyclists that were ridiculously bad back in the days, they got, I don't remember where I read that story, but basically they got ex-military guy that had that method of improving different friction areas by 1%. Only by 1%. So very little changes, but in many areas. So he was looking for the members of the team complaining about the bikes, for example. If they felt uncomfortable on the seat, he improved the seat to be more comfortable by just 1%, so they felt a little bit better. If there was a drag or something like on the bike, they improved slightly the the shape of the bike or things on the bike that allowed for that small percentage of that 1% of improvement. If they didn't sleep well, they improved that by 1% while they were on the road. And each of these percents, you can sum them up, and let's say you improved 30 things, that will be 30%, right? Yes and no. That 30% means 1/3 of the whole experience in theory is improved, but you must remember that you never created the baseline of 100%. There might be 10,000s of these things that you can improve over years. So you're improving that by 10,000%, and the impact that sum of 30 things has on your performance and your effort and the results is growing like a snowball. So it's a very important thing. All right, I'll be wrapping up now because I said I will do that after 20 minutes, but we have 26 minutes in. So thank you very much for watching this one. I wasn't expecting to do it that long. You can head on to the blog by clicking the link in the description, regardless if you're on Spotify listening just the audio, or if you're on YouTube and watching me and listening. There is a link in the description. You can go straight to the particular blog post from today, and I really appreciate your time spending here. It's a huge value from you to me that you watch it and listen, because you can do a lot of different things that might be more relevant or more beneficial for you, but you chose to come here and listen to me. So thank you very much for that, and please come back, because I'll definitely have more in store, and if you're interested, I commit to give as much value as possible to you. So without too much dragging, stay tuned and see you in tomorrow's episode.